Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from all over the world. My name is Given Ndilande, and I'd like to welcome you to this final year project system functionality presentation session. Now, the title for my project is a post-operative client visitation and circumcision information management system, which is for the Japigo VMMC mobile service van. Before I get into the details, I would like to give a brief overview of the system. Now, this system is composed of 4 distinct users, namely the administrator, the data clerk, the clinician, and the general user, otherwise known as the potential client. Now, the flow of data within this entire system begins with the administrator. And in this case, we're going to access the administrator panel using a set of predefined credential values, which are by username, the admin, and the password is 123. When I log in, I'm going to access the administrator panel. Now, the administrator is responsible for registering staff within the system. So in our case, we're going to register the data clerk and the clinician. So here's how the registration process is supposed to go. You go to the registration form. On the user role header, you select, we're going to start with registering a clinician. First name, let's give it patients. Last name, Ndilande. And the phone number could be just something random. The username, let's say Peshe, just to make it easier for access. On the email, peshe@gmail.com. And the password, 123, for easier reference. And when I click add, an alert is going to pop up to complement the success of this registration process. There it is. And we're also going to register the data clerk. So we go through the same process. Data clerk. For the first name, let's give it Charlotte. Last name, Kwalimba. On the phone number, could also be just something random, but a number. Username, just to make it simple, we say Char. Email right there. Password 2, let's use 123 for easy reference. 123. When I click add, same thing is going to happen. An alert is going to pop up to complement the success of this registration process. There it is. Now, I am going to open 2 extra tabs, which are going to be used as access points for these accounts. So this is how it goes. We're going to use the same URL of access, and for the other tab too, same URL. There it goes. Now this is being done for easy maneuvering and just to showcase how the flow of data is moving from one section to another. So in our case, we're going to log in as the clinician, which in our case is patients, and is previously registered by the administrator. The username for patients was Peshe, and the password was 123. Now suppose I intentionally insert an incorrect password. Let's say there. When I click login, the system's gonna deny. When I say Peshe with the correct credentials, be it 123, when I click login, I'll get to access the clinician dashboard. Same thing for the data clerk panel, as we previously defined the data clerk as Shar for the username, and the password was 123. Click login, I'll get to access the data clerk panel, as you can see in the tab showcased above. So now that we're in the data clerk section, one of the first functionalities for this system, the core functionalities, is client registration, and it is facilitated by the data clerk. As you can see, when I select on the registered clients module, it says there are no registered clients currently. So now whenever the data clerk wishes to register a client, this is how the process goes. It clicks register new client, this module, and the form appears, the registration form appears. So now in our case, we'll register Coven Gangata for the surname, insert the phone number, there it is, selection of the district in which this procedure is going to be undertaken with say Blanta. And for the service point, in our case, we're going to select Mbayani, which is very important and it's very pertinent to the system. Now, date of birth, let's say 02/02/2000. And when I click add, it's going to register the client. And we should also register another client, let's say Maxwell. Nkata. Phone number, could be something random. District, say Lilongwe. For the service point, area 49 Dubai Clinic, which is very important as previously stated. Now 01/01 maybe 1999. And when I add, the alert is there to successfully complement the registration process. And now that we've managed to successfully register the client, when I go back to the registered clients option module and I click, you're going to see that the newly registered clients are now appearing in this section and you can actually view them. Finalization of this client registration process will now pave way for the second and most important functionality for this system, which has to deal with client visitation tracking. Now, this particular functionality is facilitated by the system's clinician. So whenever we get to access the clinician panel, we get to see that an alert is being displayed. It says there are 2 clients ready for the procedure. Now, what procedure are we talking about? This particular procedure is just an abstract or a model of the real-time circumcision event that is being carried out by these personnel, induced on the registered clients in real time, but rather in this case is being projected in a system format. So now when you click the carry out procedures button, you get redirected to a page that displays the clients that were registered by the data clerk respectively, and you get to see that there are 2 options. It says view map and start procedure. Before I proceed, as you can see, there's a header that says procedure progress, and below is a bar with a label 10%. Now this is just a quantitative measurement of the whole circumcision process, ranging from client registration, client circumcision, and client visitation. And this particular bar is going to scale up every time a process has been completed. So now moving forward, the start procedure button. Clicking this button is going to prompt a timer. Now this timer is just going to calculate the client visitation sequel. The clients have been registered by the data clerk. They have to undergo the initial circumcision procedure by the clinician, and the system has to calculate their visitation sequel. Now these sequels are in 2 projections. The first visitation sequel is going to span for 48 hours, and the second visitation sequel is for 7 days, which is 1 week. Now, for example, let's say start procedure, and we say initiate procedure. An alert has popped up to say the client has been circumcised, in which it is just a complement of the client being circumcised in real time, but rather by the system. Now, as you can see, these fields are closed right now. You can't make a visitation. Now, the visitation process involves providing treatment to these people. They've been circumcised and you get to visit them, and then you get to analyze, you follow up their health status from day to day after 48 hours for the first visitation sequel, and after 7 days for the second visitation sequel. But right now I can't access this because the timer is in session. I just wanted to showcase how this particular function is going to be carried out, but I would rather use another way. I would have to explicitly change the code behind just to make it easier for the countdown and showcase what exactly is about to happen. For presentation purposes, I had to alter the countdown timer because, as previously stated, if the time was to be allowed to be degrading, it would have taken us 2 days and for the first visitation sequel to be complete, and 7 days for the second visitation sequel to be complete. So now I've registered another client with the altered values in the countdown timer. So when I click start procedure, initiate procedure, the client has been circumcised. You get to see that The visitation field is awaiting to be opened, judging by the degrading timer. Now, this visitation field is just there to allow the clinician to make their follow-up activities a complement of the circumcision process, where they'll be able to assess the health status of the registered clients. Right here, as you can see, now the field is open. As you can see, the second visitation field is now being opened too, followed by an alert popping from this side, alerting the clinician on the due dates of the visitation sequels. Now, for example, when I click here, you get to see that the visitation form is now appearing, where you have to fill in the details based on the feedback you're getting after assessing the client. So you're saying in real time, that is there any swelling in the wound? There's already a button. You can either say yes if there's a sense of one, no, whatever, just any sort of information, any other contraindications, things that you've encountered after assessing the client, you put in. The details and then click submit. Now the first visitation is done. Make the second visitation as well. Say no, not any present. Click submit. You see that the second visitation is done. Now when I go back to the home and on carryout procedures on clients, you explained earlier, you get to see that now the procedure progress bar is now scaled up after the entire circumcision process has been completed, ranging from client registration, circumcision, to client visitation on both of the sequels that are supposed to be finalized. And with this being done, complementing the client visitation tracking and client visitation alert reminder functionalities as encompassed by the proposed system. The next functionality for this system is to deal with the landmarking of service points for each affiliated district from which these clients have been registered from. Now, a service point serves as a physical location where these people are subject to the circumcision procedure. Now, for this functionality to be in full effect, there is need for a source of internet that is not interrupted. As you can see, I am connected to my Wi-Fi, and in regard to the previous courses of action that we took in the registration of clients, ranging from the data clerk section. For example, when we were registering the client Kovin Gangata, we stated that his district of residence was Blantyre, and the service point at which he was being subjected to the circumcision procedure was Mbayani Primary School ground. Now, in order to showcase this functionality, all you have to do is just hover to the view map button and then click. Upon clicking it, it's going to read throughout the coordinates that have been fed into the database upon implementation, and it is going to display the actual location at which the service was received. Upon clicking the view maps button, you get to see that there's a map that is being displayed as facilitated by the Google Maps API, which has been incorporated into the system. Now there's a location pinpoint which is serving as a landmark for the service point. Now when we zoom in further into the pinpointed location, you get to see that we've now entered Blantyre on the map. Blantyre as serving as a district of residence for the registered client Kovin Gangata. Zooming in further, Blantyre, we're going deeper and deeper. We've now entered Mbayani, which is the proposed service point of registration. Still going in, Mbayani, entering further. You get to see now that there's a school, Mbayani School Community Ground. But because we're using the beta version or the Google Maps API, which is not purchased. It is not highly functional as it's supposed to be. As you can see, it has some watermarks right there, just displaying for development purposes only. So yeah, this is practically what the system has achieved in terms of landmarking the service point as a functionality. Now in this section, I'm going to demonstrate two distinct functionalities within the system, which are the daily or monthly progress report generation functionality and the emailing of the report, the emailing process of the report. Now, these two functionalities are facilitated by the system's data clerk. Now, as you can see, we're in the data clerk section. Now, all we have to do in order to achieve these functionalities is to hover up to the side menu and then click report. Now on the report, you get to see that we'll be redirected to a page which has an option for us to filter out the month of which we want to generate the report from. Now all you have to do is click and you get to see that the month will be available. Now in this case we're in November, so we're going to click November. Now you're going to see the details of all the clients that were registered in November, the date of procedure, and below you get to see that there are two buttons. One that says generate PDF report and one that says mail report. For now we're going to concentrate on the generate PDF report function. Now all we have to do is just click generate PDF report. As you can see, all you have to do is click OK. Now this is where you get to print out the report. Printing the report and opening it, you get to see that the report has been generated for that particular month, as you can see. Now going back to the other functionality for the mailing report, all you have to do is get connected to the internet and then click this button right here. Now in here you're going to type the address of choice. Now in our case, the report is supposed to be directed to an email address bearing management. Now for presentation purposes, I'm going to insert my email address right here, Ndilande@gmail.com. And this is where you get to attach the file, the generated PDF report. You click choose file, and then on the downloads, this is where the report is. As you can see, we're selecting it, click open, and then send email. As it's processing, all you have to do is wait, and an alert will pop up to say right here, the email was successfully sent. Now all I have to do is access my Gmail account to verify if the email has been published to my address. Now I select Gmail to see if the report has been attached to the email that's been sent. And it's still processing, we wait. Now that we've accessed the email account, as you can see, there's a latest message from the VMMC system, which is part of this project, bearing a monthly report, the one that we just generated. Now accessing this message, we'll get to see that there's a message complementing the attached PDF. Now all we have to do is to download and access the PDF. You get to see that the PDF report has been successfully sent and can easily be viewed in terms of satisfying the functionality, hence making it easier for management to access these reports. So the next functionalities that will be showcased for this system include the service schedule access and the appointment reservation functionalities. Now these functionalities are facilitated by the general user, otherwise known as the potential client. But before that, I would like to give you a sneak peek of how the service schedule is published. Now this process is facilitated by the administrator, where they have to click the service schedule option on the cyber navigation menu. Now upon accessing the service schedule page, you're going to see that there are two options below, one that says add service schedule and one that says add service point. So in this case, we're going to add a service schedule. Now a service schedule is more like a calendar that will be made available and published by the organization to be projected to the general user or the potential client to make it easier for them to book their appointments. So now in this case, we're going to say Blantyre for the district. the service point, Chilomoni ground, the date that the mobile service van will be available in that particular area will be set right here. So in this case, let's say 10 December 2021. We add another one, Lilongwe. Let's say Lilongwe for the service point, area 49, Dubai Clinic. Let's give it 1 January 2022. Yeah, then we click add. Now, after updating the service schedule, we're going to access the general user or the potential client section. Now, this section has been incorporated using a different link for security purposes, because the internal link is set to be only accessible to staff, to the organization staff, while this one is an external link which is publicly made to be accessed by the general user or the potential client. Now here's the link. Mind you, the data is the same, the system is the same, just that they're going to be using two different links to accessing their data. So this is why they're using a separate link. Here's the link. Now for the general user to book an appointment or access the service schedule, they're going to click this button right here, service schedule. By clicking it, you're going to see that it'll be redirected to the next page that says the service schedule is only available when you log in, and if you don't have an account, you have to sign up. So in this case, we're going to sign up. Click sign up, where we get to a potential client registration phase. Now we're going to insert our credentials. For the name, we're going to use Pardon Ndilande. Yeah, for the email, let's just say givendilande@gmail.com. For the phone number, place of residence, Chileka. For the district, let's select Blantyre. Date of birth, 0101 2000. Password, let's put it as 123. And now we register. Now that we've successfully registered, we'll go back to the login section and insert our credentials. For the email, givendilande@gmail.com. Password 1234. Log into the section. We get to see that we can now access the service schedule. Now, since the service schedule is more like a calendar of when the van will be situated in our area, you get to book an appointment. So now if you want to book an appointment, for example, since we're in Blantyre, we'll book an appointment right here, book an appointment. And an alert says that an appointment booked. An email will be sent to you for the response. Now, upon booking the appointment, what you have to do is await, because the appointment is supposed to be approved by the administrator. So now we'll log into the administrator section right here, admin 123. After logging into the admin section, we'll go to the sidebar navigation menu and click on approvals. Now you get to see that you'll be redirected to a page that says appointment approvals, and the issued appointment is now being sent to this section where it is awaiting or pending approval. You can either approve or decline. So in this case, we'll approve this appointment that was being booked by Pardon Ndilande. So clicking approve, you have to make sure you're connected to the internet, because it will be a function that will be sending an alert to the email that issued the reservation for the appointment. So in this case, so clicking approve, you have to make sure you're connected to the internet, because it will be a function that will be sending an alert to the email that issued the reservation for the appointment. So in this case, we're going to access the email account that issued the reservation process for the appointment. So in this case, we open a new tab, click Gmail. Since we used my email for presentation purposes, I'm accessing my email right now, and there there's a message in my inbox that says appointment approval. You open it. It reads, "Dear sir or madam, we would like to inform you that your appointment has been approved. Please take note to be present and make sure you're available for the VMMC procedure on the given date as published by the service schedule issued by the administrator." With this being done, it is a process that is complementing the functionality that has been achieved using these two distinct requirements as proposed to be implemented in the system. So the final functionality to be illustrated for this particular project is to deal with the generation of a statistical report. Now, this particular function requires the vast entry of data. So data was entered explicitly into the system using the data clerk section. But since it was a very long process, I did not manage to incorporate that particular stage. But now, whenever you want to generate a statistical report, all you have to do is access the administrator section. On the sidebar navigation menu, all you have to do is click on the statistical report option. Clicking the option, we'll get to see that there's a bar graph that is being generated with the header affiliated district graphical report. Now, this particular report will bear the values of the district, showing the number of people that have been registered from each district. In so doing, we've reached the end of our presentation session, and this system was developed in order to cater for the problems that were being faced with the current system. So I developed a system in order to provide solutions to the problems that the current system at the Chapago VMMC mobile service van was facing. Thank you so much for your time.